Can you guess what great men like Tony Robbins, Brian Tracy, and Jack Canfield have in common? They know how to influence people with words. Whether you're giving a presentation, negotiating a deal, or even talking with your teams, your ability to communicate clearly and confidently will make all the difference. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 7 hacks that helped me become a master communicator. If you want to achieve your goals faster, you got to improve your communication skills. Hi, my name is Siddharth Rajsekar, and after creating 600 plus videos, conducting 600 plus webinars, and posting a lot of content out there, trust me, even now when I speak, when I communicate, I blabber, but I don't care because I know that I'm able to communicate this message to you, not because of how polished my message is, but the intention behind the message. So in this video, I'm going to break some myths and bust some myths from your head that you don't have to be a polished toastmaster to be called a great communicator. You just need to be real, authentic, and you need to connect with your audience based on what they're looking for. So this is going to open up your mind. Let's watch and see how it happens. Let's talk about the types of communication first. There is verbal and non-verbal communication. In fact, most of the communication is non-verbal that people actually understand. But in this video, in this context, I'm going to talk about the verbal communication. When it comes to verbal communication, again, there are 2 places where you can communicate. Number 1 is in the offline space. I'm talking about one-to-one connection with people, one-to-one meetings. That's where the communication happens. And in the online space, you have videos, you have audios, you have text, you have webinars, you have live streaming kind of stuff that you can do where you can communicate in so many different platforms. So there are different media that are there, but there are some principles that are common. So what I'm going to share with you in this video are 7 hacks to improve your communication and make it more effective. And when you're able to implement these 7 hacks, trust me, you're going to be much better. But the only question is, are you going to implement these 7 hacks? Just type in the chat box, in the comment box, I will. I want you to set the intention of applying this information, because knowing something and not doing anything about it, it equals to not knowing. So I want to communicate with you through this video that there is no use you watching this video unless you're going to put this into action. So let's get started. The first hack for effective communication is listening. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Please use it in that proportion. God has given us these instruments to use, and there is a psychology behind it. When you're able to listen more than you speak, that's where the game is. So how can you use listening as a hack? Number 1 is you may be watching a video. You may be watching this video and you may be observing how I'm communicating, and you can take some pointers. Maybe you're reading a book or reading an article or reading a blog post, and you're observing that the way that people have formed the words and they have made it so powerful that you're able to get connected and hooked into it. So make notes of that. So you can also listen through reading. Okay, listen to the voice in which things are being written. And third is by learning. You can learn from various different places when you're going through courses, when you're going through videos, when you're going through audio, podcasts. The more you listen, you will start to pick up the vocabulary of the niche or the space that you're in, and you'll also start to pick up a set of words that are powerful and impactful. Like whatever words I'm using right now is because I've read so many articles, I've watched so many videos, and when I'm putting all of this together, it comes in a particular format which is connected to who I am as a person, and it's the way that I naturally speak. Initially, I was not really good at doing videos like this. I used to mumble, fumble, and I was very, very amateur in my initial part. But the more I kept doing this again and again and again, my communication started to get better because of listening to other experts, reading more stuff and learning more stuff and picking up ideas from there. Second hack I would like to share with you is you got to digest the information. Just like when you eat a lot of food, the food has to digest, and then once the food digests, then it distributes in the form of energy in different parts of the body. Similarly, just by you consuming information and listening, it's not going to work. You have to digest the information. So how do you digest the information? I'm going to share with you what works for me. For me, recollecting all the thoughts. I have a notepad document where when I'm watching somebody's video, when I'm listening to a podcast or watching my mentor's courses, I take notes and I put them all into one repository of notes that I go and access and get ideas from. Second idea is to put them all into mind maps. I love using mind maps. As you can see, many of my previous YouTube videos, I do a lot of mind mapping videos because as I'm learning stuff, I put them into different nodes, the different subtopics. Even when I'm teaching my courses, I put them into mind maps so it becomes easy for my students to assimilate and absorb the information. The third idea on how to digest this information is to revise whatever you have learned by practicing and by modeling the experts. So for example, initially I was not very good at selling through webinars, but then when I learned from my mentors, then I started to model and replicate some of the things that they would do. Things like where they would pause, where they would bring up the excitement, how they would deliver the offer, where they would go much faster, where they would speak softly, where they would tell a story, like how they would do it. All of these are parts of communication. And the more I started to observe my mentors, I started to replicate them. I started to model them. Let's come to the third one. You want to get really good at communication? Start writing, start typing, copywriting. Just like how 80% of our body is made up with water, 80% of this world is made up with water, 80% of your communication has to do with words. And if you want the words to set into your subconscious, the best way is to write it or type it. I've written so many different newsletters, so many emails. So copywriting, don't just depend on ChatGPT and stuff. Everybody wants the shortcut right now, going to ChatGPT, and they want the output based on the prompts that you give them. Don't go the shortcut way. I would like you to get good at writing. All the emails that I write to my email list, I write them on my own. So first thing is, when it comes to writing, maintain a scrapbook of ideas where when you're reading articles, when you're reading blogs, just copy phrases or words that are powerful and that connect with you. In that scrapbook, the second idea is to highlight or bold some power words. There's a whole theory behind power words, like words that influence people to buy, that influence people to take action. There's a whole category in copywriting called direct response copywriting. Direct response copywriters are different from creative copywriters. Creative copywriters, they just, write stories and different kinds of stuff. But direct response copywriters, they structure the words in such a way where it evokes a response in the reader to take action. So learn direct response copywriting. There's a website called Swiped, SWIPED, swiped.co, where you can read some of the best direct response copy written by many of the legends in the space, and it's all nicely categorized. Okay, that's my resource for you to become a good copywriter. And also, the third idea I would like to share with you when it comes to writing is save all of the ads that you see on Facebook. Okay, take a snapshot. Maybe you're going on the road and you see a beautiful ad and it's very catchy. The words that they've used are very good. Take a snapshot of that and put that into your scrapbook. So scrapbook is not just about copying words, but also copying the ads and copying the visuals and understanding the ideas. So once you have a bank of these different ideas, you can always go back and pull information from there and start writing more. The more you write, the more you type, the better you'll get at it. The fourth hack to improve your communication skills is to actually create content pieces. Based on whatever you have heard, listened, digested, and you have started to write, right? Create content pieces. Now you can start to practice the skill of creation in multiple areas. Number one is you can start to create short videos, reels. Now when it comes to short videos, how do you create? You have to really break attention within the first few seconds. Then you got to get into a particular problem, then give a solution and give a call to action. For short form content, it's all about curiosity, emotion, and call to action. What can you do to arouse curiosity? What can you do to stir an emotion? And what can you say to help people take action? So curiosity, emotion, call to action is the formula for any form of content, but specifically short form video content. And the more you practice this, you'll get good in your communication with videos. Next is long form videos. Like what I'm doing right now is long form YouTube videos. There is a structure behind me even recording this video. Even before I started recording this video, I put together a plan of what I need to cover, what's in my mind. I put that into a text pad and then I'm just recording it one by one. Number 3 is podcasts. If you go to the Freedom Business podcast and listen to my podcast, my communication format there is different from the video format. I go much faster. In fact, when I'm recording podcasts, I close my eyes and I speak, and I don't really bother about what I'm going to say, if the lighting is there, what I'm wearing, all that is not there. So I sometimes go much deeper in my podcasts as compared to video because it's a single sensory communication medium. In this case, it's a dual sensory. There's visual, I need to move my hands, I need to look into the camera, I got to speak, and I've got to deliver my voice and what's in my head. But when I'm doing a podcast, it's slightly different. So you'll observe that when you start to do podcasts, the way that you would communicate will be different as compared to doing a video. The other way to communicate and to create is to write more emails, long form emails, which are more than 500 to 1000 words, where you're weaving stories. And if you look at some of the best emails that marketers write are not this newsletter type and very flashy advertising type of emails. It is like how you would write to a friend and write it in small simple lines, not like big chunky paragraphs, but write it in 1, 2, 3, 4 sentences and then move to the next. That's how you need to learn to communicate when it comes to email. And of course, you've got graphical communication also. Communication not just in the form of words or videos, even creating graphics, creating quotes of yours, using Canva and all this stuff is also going to help improve your communication, because communication is happening in multiple media. It's not just a video or audio or a text. There's also image communication that happens. Number 5. You want to improve your communication skills and make it more effective, connect with your audience. That is a super hack. Whenever you post a video, whenever you post a podcast or something on your blog and there's somebody who responded below in the comments, you comment back, you connect with them. And the more you connect with an audience, they will also give you feedback. They'll help you improve your communication. In the beginning, when I was starting off my marketing journey, what I used to do is I used to go to Facebook and I would connect with 20 to 30 people every single day. And I would do this even on LinkedIn. So I would make a post on LinkedIn and anyone who would like my post, maybe 20, 30 people like my post, I will go to their profile and I will like their post and I will comment below their post. And then they would comment back on my post and I would respond to that post. So I would spend at least 30 to 45 minutes per day building meaningful connections with my audience after I have done a post, after I've done a piece of content. This is also communication. Don't think communication is just sitting behind a video, like a camera like this and recording a video for YouTube. No, communication also happens when you interact with people, when you have two-way communication. This is one-way communication, but I want to make this two-way right now. So I would like you to type in the comment box, this stuff is awesome. I would like you to type in the comment box right now, this stuff is awesome, so that I know we are having an interactive communication over here. And I'm going to be reading the comments below and I'll respond to your comments. This stuff is awesome. Thank you so much. So when you connect with people on social media, on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, when you reply to people's emails, you send an email blast to your list, they reply back, and you reply back to them on a one-to-one basis. That was the time in my business in 2018, 2019, where I was personally replying to 200 emails per day. Heartfelt. Some of them I would reply in a long format. And you know what? Because of that touch point, I started to build more trust with my audience. And I'll come to that towards the end. I'm going to be talking to you about the 7th hack, which is how to build trust. Number 6 is you want to improve your communication. You got to analyze things. Just posting stuff and not analyzing data, there's a big mistake. You're missing out on what is happening. So what I do with my teams is we analyze multiple things. We analyze content patterns. What kind of content works? What kind of content does not work? What kind of content is suitable for which platform? Don't just make a video and just platter it in all different social media, because each social media platform works in a different way. Respect each platform and respect each media. Okay, and understand what works in that particular media. Second is analyze your topic patterns. Like on YouTube, the kind of stuff that I'm posting is very different from what I post on my podcasts. Just go to sidz.co/podcast, subscribe to my podcast on Apple and Spotify, the Freedom Business Podcast, and just go and look at the topics over there and look at the topics over here. Very, very different, because each platform has a different type of an audience who are looking for different kinds of things. And I'm having an amazing traction even in my podcast because my audience there is looking for something different over there on Spotify or on Apple. And the third thing to analyze is to look at what is the ideal frequency for each of these media. Because ultimately, if you want to get good in your communication, it is not just about your communication style or your delivery, but it's also when are you going to be posting, where are you going to be posting, and at what frequency are you going to be posting it. Okay, for example, now YouTube, we have like a 2-day schedule, only twice in a week. Instagram, we do multiple times in a day. Podcasts, again, we do multiple times in a week. Emails, I do every single day. So each media has its own power and frequency. So the 6th way to become better at communication is to analyze what you've already communicated and do more of what works and stop doing what does not work. Smart tip, right? All of you just type super smart in the comment box. Yeah. And finally, number 7, you want to get really good at communication. No matter how well you speak, maybe you're a Toastmaster and you're speaking all the hi-fi vocabulary and you're all of that stuff, right? Nobody cares. Nobody cares about how much you know. They only want to know how can what you're communicating solve their problem. So to build trust, you need 3 things. These are the 3 most important pieces of communication. Number 1 is authenticity. People need to see you without any filters. Be real, be transparent, be vulnerable, be open. Don't hold anything back. There's nothing to hide. Whether somebody is seeing you online or offline, they should see the same person. There are many people today who do all kinds of gimmicks online, but you see them in the offline world, they're a completely different personality. They're portraying an image. They're showing some kind of a persona that they're not in the real world. Second is present information with a strong logic. I'm pretty sure that the time that you spent with me, like over the last 15 minutes, is you found this really valuable. I'm presenting information with you with a strong logic. Don't just share things just because, it is hypey. Don't do like hypey stuff. Present with strong logic, then you'll attract people who are aligned with whatever you're teaching. And the third pillar of building trust is empathy. You really need to be a people lover. You need to care for people. People don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care for them. And if that comes through in your communication, in your videos, in your podcasts, in your audios, in your messaging, you know what? You'll attract customers for life. You won't just get these fair-weathered followers who just come in when you post something clickbaity, but you'll attract people who are truly following you not for the way you communicate, but for who you are as a person. My mentor Blair Singer says this, it's not about what you teach, it's about the way you teach it. And more importantly, who you are as a person, because when you are congruent as a person, when your thoughts, words and actions align, you'll attract people towards you. You'll become a magnet to miracles. So these are the 7 different ways or hacks to improve your communication. I hope you found this video useful. Please hit that like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and make sure you follow every single video of mine from here on, because all of my videos are going to be fast to the point and I'm sure it's going to change your life. Now, the only question that I'm going to ask you is, are you going to implement these 7 hacks? Are you going to implement them? Just type in the comment box, I will implement these 7 hacks. I want you to type that in the comment box. That way I know that the last 15 plus minutes that we have spent with each other is going to be useful for you. Okay. Wish you all the best. I'll respond to your comments and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.